Good morning, everyone. We're going to call the meeting to order. Today is Monday, February 2nd, 2026. It is 9:01 a.m. All council members are present, including the town manager, deputy town manager, town attorney, and town clerk. If you please rise for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
We meet today to focus on the very best that can happen for our lives. Show us what we need to do this day. Give us strength physically, mentally, and emotionally. Help us to successfully meet every aspect of our lives. We ask to be inspired with creative and dynamic ideas and trust we are guided so that we can meet our lives with joy and confidence. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the final agenda. We will be pulling administrative agenda item number F, Resolution 26-019. Are there any other changes or amendments to the final agenda?
Move to approve as amended.
Good motion by Councilor King.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Safford. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries unanimously. Next is public comment. Madam Clerk?
Yep, I have two signed up.
Okay.
John McLean, and then after John will be Jim Bowen.
Morning, John.
Good morning, everybody. John McLean, Egret Street. I'm also a hopeful candidate for the appointment to position 4 to join Town Council. I've spoken to each of you individually, and really all I was hoping to do was to have an open invitation if anybody would like to speak with me to understand a little bit more about myself, my background, my positioning. I will be on Beach Talk Radio in 2 weeks, and hopefully it'll be a very candid conversation then. But if anybody would like to reach out to me, my phone number is 239-314-9996. My email is my name, John, John, McLean, McLean, 01@gmail.com. And I look forward to a very open and frank discussion with anybody. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Jim?
Morning, Town Council. My name is Jim Bowen. I'm also a candidate for appointment. But this morning, I wanted to address the last item on the administrative agenda. I would suggest that it would be fairer if the standardized Q&As were asked of the candidates in a rotating order. That way, each candidate would have the opportunity to answer first, second, and third. I think there's a perceived advantage to hearing the response of an individual and given time before you have to articulate your own response. So I'd ask you to consider that when your deliberations when it comes to that. And I, as John, I think I've reached out to each one of you. I'm readily available to answer any and all questions regarding my past, my experience, or what I think I can bring to the council. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all you had?
That's all I have
Is there anyone
signed
else?
up.
Yes, sir. Come on up. We'll start on the left and then we'll go to the right, or whomever wants to go first.
Hi, good morning. I'm Craig Luce, resident of Cresciente, 7,000 block of Estero. We have a couple dozen neighbors and beachgoers in the crowd with us today. Not only to see the beautiful new building here, but to see how small government works. So we're appreciative of your efforts to save the pilings back last year. It's an iconic landmark that we all enjoy. And we're looking forward to Chad's presentation today to discuss additional sand in some of the low-lying areas out in front of our units for good for residents, visitors, and wildlife alike. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Craig. Yep, go ahead.
I'm Marcy Cole, and I see a lot of our neighbors are here from surrounding buildings, and I feel the same way. We lived through this hurricane together, and then we heard all about the beach replenishment, and we were thrilled. And then we had all the equipment in front of us, and we couldn't wait for our area to get done, and that really didn't happen. They sort of moved on away. And so we just don't understand why. You know, we have the pilings, which are amazing for everybody. It draws people, it draws wildlife, but the beach never got the top that everybody else received, as well as the grading. And so we have a lot of low-lying dips and uneven sand. And I brought some pictures here that shows like our buildings next to us, our neighbors, and what we have. Can I show these to you?
Sure,
Pass
yeah,
them
give
around?
them to Amy and she'll get them to us.
Okay. So the first two is Cresciente. and
Hey,
then
you gotta hold on until you get back to the mic, so you gotta be on record. Yeah. It's all right, happens to all of us.
So the first two pictures illustrate Cresciente right in front, but this does extend to our neighbors to the south as well. And then the last picture is Leonardo Arms that looks like a baby's behind. It's all this nice powdered sand, and it's really hard that we went through this, and, you know, you have to go so many buildings down before you can enjoy that type of beach. So we are really hoping that you guys will finish us off nicely.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment. Next is local achievements and recognitions. Counselor Link?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I wanted to call out something that I'm sure many of you have noticed, and that was that the Best of the Beach Awards are back. First time since the hurricane. You can only have a Best of the Beach award if you've got things to celebrate. So I think it shows how far we've come, and I want to congratulate all the businesses, all the restaurants, the homeowners, everything that has brought us to a point where we can vote on what our favorite place is. So kudos to all the people out there on the island.
Thank you. Scott?
Yeah, I'd like to recognize Ellen Vaughn for the great event on Saturday. The Friends of Mount House really stepped up, and they had a murder mystery based in the 80s, and it was a lot of fun, brought the community together, and I think they raised a lot of money for the Mount House, so kudos to her.
John?
I have nothing.
Just reiterate what Scott had to say about the Mount House. It was pretty fun. I will say for the record that thanks to the two people to my right on the far end, the smartest people at the table were the cheerleaders to making sure that we took first place in solving the riddle.
Could have been rigged.
It could have been the costume, could have been a lot of things, but no, it was a great event. Congratulations to Ellen Vaughn. It was really fun. Some of the actors were really, really good. So we'll see what they come up with next year. All right, next is our advisory committee items, reports, and appointments. Before we move on, I'd like to take a moment to update our community on the volunteer opportunities within the town's committees. After today's appointments, we will still have openings on two important committees, one position on the audit committee and another on the public safety committee. These committees play a vital role in the well-being of our town. The audit committee helps ensure transparency, accountability, and fiscal responsibility, while the public safety committee focuses on keeping our residents and visitors safe through thoughtful planning and oversight. We appreciate the time, expertise, and dedication our committee members contribute, and we encourage anyone interested in serving to apply. To apply, you can download the advisory boards and committees application available on the town's website and email the signed completed form to our clerk at amy@fmbgov.com. Your involvement does make a difference in the quality of life here in Fort Myers Beach, so we encourage anyone to apply for those two open positions. Our first one is for the appointment of members to the fiscal year 26 Anchorage Advisory Committee. There is one person on the list. There are three, according to this, three open seats? Is there just the one?
Just one.
Okay, so it's just the sheet. I see, it says vacant. So we've got one applicant for the one position. Thomas Hedrick, is he here? No? Okay. Then we will make our selection. You picking these up, Nancy, or is it Amy picking them up?
I'll get them.
Okay,
I'll get my steps in.
there you go.
Thank you.
limb here and think you all voted for the same one. Scott Safford, Thomas Hedrick. Dan Allers, Thomas Hedrick. John King, Thomas Hedrick, and Rebecca Link, Thomas Hedrick, for 4 votes.
Okay, is there a motion to accept the outcome of the open seat for Mr. Hedrick?
So
for the
moved.
Anchorage Advisory Committee. A motion by Counselor King,
Second.
seconded by Vice Mayor Safford. Any further discussion?
None.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. Next is an appointment of a member to the fiscal year 26 Public Safety Committee. There are 3 open seats, and we have 2 applicants, and I apologize in advance if I butcher your name. Karen DeMichelle and Frederick Keneal. Are either one of you two in the audience today? Come on up, Frederick.
Morning, my name is Fred Keneal. I'm a resident of Royal Pelican Condo Association. I started coming down here as a snowbird in 2006, and walking the beach one day in 14, I thought I should be here longer than 2 months. So I bought a place at Royal Pelican. The safety committee, yes, safety's always in season, it's always in fashion. I look forward to meeting the other members of the board and learning how the group functions. Any questions?
Do you have any
Thank you.
questions for Frederick? Scott?
I actually met him,
Yeah,
The beach radio. I did a.
beach radio broadcast, and I came up to you with a concern, and he mentioned about the safety committee needing some people, so.
Very good.
Always did a lot with the Elks and the Lions, where I came from, in the community, so sounded like something I should look into, so
Very good.
here I am.
Yeah, I appreciate you stepping up. We had a good conversation
Yeah, we
afterwards,
did,
and
yeah,
so thank you.
thank you.
All right, go ahead and make your votes, and we'll get the high stepper.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
if you wouldn't mind while you are getting the votes, we are going to bring the Public Safety Committee to the March M&P in a joint, like a mini joint session, because there are one committee that doesn't really have a task given to you, or given to them by you, so we're going to get them in front of the 4 of you, the 5 of you at that point in time, and hopefully we can get them going down a path.
very good.
And I'll just add on that, thanks, Amy, that's right, I've had some good conversations with Director Yazzo, and we'll have some recommendations for the council during that discussion, and be willing to be looking forward to hearing any more that the council might have.
Perfect.
All right, thank you. All right, so first up is Rebecca Link, and she has voted for Frederick Keneal. You only took 1 vote?
Yes.
Okay, Frederick Keneal only. John King voted for Karen DeMichelle and Frederick Keneal. Dan Allers, Karen DeMichelle, and Frederick Keneal. And Scott Safford, Karen DeMichelle, and Frederick Keneal. So with a vote of four votes, Frederick Keneal, and then 3 votes, Karen DeMichelle.
Is there a motion to accept the outcome of the 2 appointments for Karen DeMichelle and Frederick Keneal to
I'll
the
move.
Public Safety Committee?
Pardon me, I'll move that, Mayor.
I'll second it.
Counselor King had made the motion, seconded by Vice Mayor Safford. Any further discussion?
None.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries unanimously. Thank you again. Next is the approval of the minutes from the Town Council meeting on January 20th, 2026. Are there any changes or modifications or a motion?
I've got a correction, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
On page 3, on what I believe is the second paragraph, it states, "Mr. Link has been certified as an expert in his field." It should read Mr. Inc., I-N-K.
Very good.
And with that, I'll move approval of the minutes,
All right.
as corrected.
Got a motion.
I'll second.
from Counselor King for the amended approval of minutes, and seconded by Vice Mayor Safford. Any further discussion? Hearing none, that motion carries unanimously. Next is our consent agenda. There are 3 items, all pertaining to local states of emergency. First is Resolution 26-023 through 26-026 for the extension of local emergency Tropical Storm Debbie. Resolution 26-027 through 26-030, extension of local emergency for Tropical Storm Helene, and last, Resolution 26-031 through 26-34, extension of local emergency for Tropical Storm Milton. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
A motion by Vice Mayor Safford. I'll second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries unanimously. We have nothing removed from the consent agenda. We have no public hearings, and that brings us to our first administrative agenda item. As soon as I can get my computer to work. The first item is a presentation, proposed 2026 beach sand haul projects. This is a review of the beach recovery project since Hurricane Ian and seeking town council direction on proposed 2026 beach sand truck haul projects. Will?
Yep, I'll ask Chad.
I didn't see him hiding
So I'll
back
ask
there.
Chad to step up to the mic. I know he's prepared for this discussion.
Wow, look at that shirt.
Oh,
You like
boy.
that? It's awesome. Hammer time.
Stop.
Let's collaborate and listen.
Yes.
See what you did there?
Jason, if we can cue the presentation. Mr. Poff was supposed to be here, and I don't know if we can delay and maybe put the next agenda item, if that's okay with y'all? Oh,
Oh,
here he
he
is.
just walked in.
As if on cue, no worries. We didn't realize this is going to be such a short public hearing, so.
I think what
No
you meant
worries.
is efficient, right?
We are ready. All right.
It's government life.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chad Schutz, Town of Fort Myers Beach Environmental Staff. We're going to be presenting about the beach nourishment and hurricane recovery summary. It's been a long 3 years. I think everybody can appreciate. We can see that picture up there where we had the dredge in front of Creciente and Estero Beach and Tennis Club, and as well as in the distance, you can see the truck haul project that we had started to get ahead of the shorebird nesting season that was coming very quickly, and did some tap dancing and fast work and made the project work. But we're going to go through all of this. If we can go ahead and cue this. How do I cue the slides, Jason?
I think you could just say next slide. move
Next
it on.
slide, please.
Or does he not? There you go.
There we go. So I will hand it off to Mr. Poff with this outline. So we're going to talk about the beach recovery overview, the renourishment project, which was the big dredge project, as well as, muchas gracias, as well as our dune planting project that followed, and some final touches that we have coming.
Good morning. For the record, Michael Poff, Coastal Engineering. Sorry, Chad said 9:15 would be fine, so I'll blame him for that. So there's a lot of information on this slide. We're happy to answer questions. The bottom line is this, is that over the last 3 years, we've placed 1.17 million cubic yards of sand back on the beach through emergency berms, truck hauls, scour projects, and of course, the large-scale hydraulic dredging project. The total cost of all of these projects, $40.54 million. The town share, including the 7 years of monitoring, $1.17 million. So we are indebted to our friends and our fellow Floridians for stepping up between Lee County and the TDC, yourselves, and of course the state of Florida through a variety of hurricane recovery grants in order to cover the significant majority, as well as FEMA in terms of the emergency berm and the Category G recovery projects. So again, a lot of information, 3 years in the running, and so pat yourselves on the back and thank your legislators at the state level for all the work they did, and please thank the Board of County Commissioners and the TDC for stepping up as well and fronting a lot of the monies to get us to where we are. So this is the large-scale project. It went from, of course, the north end at the south line of the Bowditch Point Park all the way to Lanark Avenue, and then we pick up and move down to around the Creciente, Leonardo Arms, toward the south end. These are your designated critically eroding beaches and eligible for state cost sharing under the annual recovery plan and state plan. And then we also had the grant money from the state that was allowed to use for areas outside of the critically eroded areas. The bar area sits offshore. It's a relic distal end of the Ebb Shoal of the Matanzas Pass complex. It was the bar area that was used for your original project as well in 2011. The contractor was Otna Marine. So just some example photographs of the as-built. The profile we're going to show you on the next slide is R178. It is north of the pier, between the pier and Bowditch. So these cross sections, the y-axis, the vertical axis is our elevations relative to the datum that we survey at, and then horizontally you're going offshore. It is kind of the orangish line is basically your design survey, pre-Ian. The royal blue line is post-Ian, and that is the damage that was done. We lost, as you may recall, over 250,000 yards just from Ian alone. And of course, the project had been eroding since 2011. It was time for renourishment. We actually had started the design and permitting before Ian hit, and then of course things ramped up. The black line is your design template. That's the beach that we want to maintain at all times. And we have a dashed line, that's your advanced nourishment. We want to have additional sand placed so that over the next 8 years, as that sand erodes and moves and migrates, we still have our design template, which is our protective beach, and of course the dune as well. Then we have our pre-construction survey, which is the green line. So there was recovery work done. We had Lee County and yourselves recovering overwash sand. We had the emergency berm constructed. And of course, then we have Debbie, Helene, and Milton all hit us during the construction project. So we lost additional sand during all of that. And so Otna rebuilt the dune. And so here's where we are today, of course, we just got done planting the dunes on this segment. And we still have a little bit of work to do, as we'll get to at the end. Moving into the central beach, you may recall we had a lot of no-work zones. There were still a lot of folks who did not want to sign the easements for a variety of reasons. So there were some areas that we were not able to get to with the hydraulic dredging process. This large volume of water and sand coming out can't possibly put sand between individual lots. So there are some low-lying areas that were left behind after the dredging, and we tried to do our best to fill in as much as we could. Of course, we were running up against nesting season for sea turtles, so we had to pause the dredging project. We were over 90% complete with the volume, and so we took that as a win. And now we want to look at the final touches and fill in some of these low-lying areas. We've gone ahead and done the plantings in the area. Here's just another snapshot. Moving down Central Beach. Here's the cross-section. Again, same colors. The orange was our design survey pre-Ian. Then we have our devastation of Ian. The green line represents when we filled the scour holes. We built the emergency berm, and then it got overwashed by Helene and Milton. So it kind of got a rounded shape to it, and then it got blown away by Helene and Milton. And so then we came back and rebuilt the beach, and in this case, they actually overpumped a little bit and built more than the advanced nourishment in this one particular section. And in the south end, this is by Leonardo da Arms. Chad opened up with the picture. This was, of course, one of the worst areas. This was added to the project after we got started with the design and permitting. And of course, over time, that condominium put in their own seawall to protect the property from all the damage that was done. And we've placed, as the next cross-section will show, if you were to measure that cross-section, the seawall sits around 65 feet from the baseline, and that beach fill is sitting around 360. So in this particular area, that was 300 feet of beach that we built, because there was no dry beach. As we all know, walking along there, there was nothing when we started. So we have put that beach back to its historic position and then some. And again, as time moves on, the goal is to have that 100-foot wide, 125-foot wide beach at all times in front of these properties with our design template. I'm going to turn it back over to Chad to talk about the plantings.
All right, thank you, Michael. So our dune planting project, long awaited. Everybody was asking when are we going to have plants, when are we going to have plants over 3 years, and we got them in there. Started from the nursery, you see up on the left, and up on the top right, the guys planting it over at Bowditch Park up north. And you can see in front of Leonardo Arms, kind of that initial 10-foot wide planting. Dune sunflower, bitter panicum grass, sea oat grass, and railroad vine. And some condos, including Leonardo Arms, planted additional width, so we went from a 10-foot wide to a 30-foot wide planting configuration where they wanted additional plants. That'll be very beneficial for their resilience to any storms that may come. Over 170,000 plants planted to date, again, 10 to 30 feet wide, and that is around 25,600 shoreline feet of plantings. This is that scheme that we planted. We did a bit of it's called a comma dune, or a bit of an offset, so that our openings are towards Sanibel. Most of our weather comes from the south. That's where we're wide open. So we put that opening kind of pointed where we have a little bit more protection, just to give it a little bit added resilience. And you can see this nice little configuration with the gallon sea oats in the middle, and the bitter panicum on the salt side, and dune daisies and railroad vine kind of in the middle and in the back. Again, Earth Balance did a great job. We got great plants. You know, I was a little nervous. You know, they're kind of cutting back the railroad vines and everything before they're delivering them. I said, Chad, don't worry, you're buying the roots, not the stems. So they were right. They performed great. I'm very happy with our contractor, Earth Balance. So this just shows you some of the different configurations of plantings. The beach along Fort Myers Beach is different everywhere. You know, different upland property owners with different concerns, as well as and priorities. And we did our best to try and listen and plant what they wanted. The county, you can see, is a different color from most. It's red. They wanted a heavy sea oat planting. That was at Scheme 1, where it's 75% or maybe 70% sea oats. Whereas Scheme 2 was a little bit in between, and most people got Scheme 3, which is what we saw before, which was a little bit less on the sea oats, I think around 15%, and a little bit heavier on the bitter panicum, dune sunflower, and railroad vines. Over here, that's a pink shell up on the left. They still have we're able to rebuild the berm on the north end after Helena Milton using some overwash sand. So they still have it up there. Here is the central section. You're looking at Gulf View, kind of that initial planting right there in front of Newton Park. And then on the right, you can still see that pink building where those plants just taken last week have really thrived over the last few months. And here we have the south end. We're on the south end here? Yes, south end. This is just on the seaward side of the locally known runway, where people can walk, a bit of a raised area to have dry toes, and walk their dogs as well along the beach and be outside of that CWA area. So it was important for those folks on the 7,000 block to maintain that walkway, so we planted just on the seaward side. And again, we've had great support from all of these condos, you know, Estero Beach and Tennis Club, Leonardo Arms, Islands End. You know, a lot of these condos, not only did they participate, but they wanted additional plantings. And as we'll talk more to come, we have more plantings that we're going to be doing to add both species diversity, add some additional species in there, as well as some tree canopy. To, again, increase our resiliency and just general enjoyment and aesthetics of the beach. So final touches. We want to tag you in? Sure. All right.
Thanks, Chad. Michael Poff again, Coastal Engineering. So we had multiple berms that were destroyed by Helena Milton. Some we were able to rebuild with the dredging company, some we were not. So we're recommending to go ahead and get the rest of the berms rebuilt. There's some of those low-lying areas around the no-work areas. We'd like to get those filled in. And then, as Chad mentioned, go ahead and do some additional plantings to help with the resiliency plan and bring back like your beach accesses and those kind of things. We've been doing all shore parallel, but we want to go ahead and get all the accesses done and those kind of things. You have your D-1502 grant from the state, Department of Emergency Management, so you still have about $3.5–4 million remaining in that grant. And so we're suggesting to go ahead and use those dollars So it'd be 100% grant funded to do one more truck haul and do some additional plantings. The plantings can continue, but we want to get the truck haul done before nesting season. So we want to get in and get out. We have the plans and specs ready to go, and just need your blessing to go ahead and put it out to bid.
Mike, will this solve, you weren't here, so maybe you didn't hear what the residents were saying. Will this solve the issue that they raised during public comment? I see Chad's nodding his head, so just to, they're here to hear that answer, so I'd like to.
Assuming the question was, these low-lying ponding areas, are we going to fill them in? The answer is yes.
Okay.
Now, if there's a no-work zone, if there is a no-work zone and we have not had a signed easement, you don't have permission to go on that property. It will stop at that no-work zone. So we're not going to be able to fill in everything because we don't have permission to work on that piece of property.
Is there still time for residents that maybe have changed their mind that want to be part of this project to do it, or no?
That's an answer we've given before, is the answer is yes, as long as we've not proceeded past them and it would cost more to bring them back. You have always given us direction, work with the residents to make sure we take care of as many as we can, so.
And are we reaching out to those residents just to, one last try to, I know after Helene and Milton hit, we had an increase in people that decided maybe we do want this. So I'm wondering if we've had another round of reaching out to the residents that are still going to be in this work area that maybe have changed their mind.
I know
I know.
Chad,
We
Chad
can work with this,
regularly,
Abigail.
regularly works with the residents
Okay.
down there. Chad, you want to?
Yeah, we can work with Abby and get another a PSA out, and it's never too late, and sign up onto the program and get some plantings in and some additional sand where we need it.
Yeah, and maybe everybody in the audience that's here, you can nudge your neighbors to be part of the solution. I think we've learned that it really does what it's supposed to do, even on normal storm surges that we see, that it really helps, and you don't have to shovel your pool out.
And also dune vegetative plantings. There was a lot of concern over, I'm going to be blocking my view and you're building this berm. And it was like, why are we building a berm? So here are the areas. So we have in blue is where we planted. In red is where we're proposing to add the berm. The yellows are the no work areas that we have on record. As we move down to Central Beach.
See, it's wide open, showing these areas in front of them. Yeah, we put these photos in here just to show how wide open it is. The beach is very flat, and there's not a whole lot of resistance to storm surge, especially in the central section. Again, we were against the time clock with Adna being late, so we were not able to rebuild the berm in these areas. So we're proposing to, we're not going to put sand on top of the plantings, but put it just seaward of the plantings, and that sand will drift. We're happy to stabilize that sand with additional plantings for property owners that would want additional plantings to stabilize that sand berm. This isn't going to be, I know there was a lot of, the berm and, why are you putting the Himalayas up in front of my house? And whenever we were right after Ian and the entire beach was basically at sea level or even below sea level, that berm did look like the Himalayas. It was a 6-foot, hill. So now our beach has been brought up. It's around 3-4 plus NAVD. So this 6-foot berm is really only going to be 2-foot molehill. So it's not going to be a drastic change in the beach per se. I definitely recommend any property owners that want to stabilize that sand with vegetation, please reach out. We're building our database and going down all the 300 properties to just note who wants what vegetation, and try and get as much vegetation to stabilize that sand and protect our investment as possible. Again, this is right in front of Junkanoo on the left. You can see it's wide open straight onto Estero Boulevard, critical infrastructure that we'd like to protect as much as possible. On the right there is just by Gulfview, just north of Gulfview. There was a little bit of a low-lying area that we need to fill in over there at that access. I think that's Bayview access. Here we have down south in front of Smugglers, and we kind of had a bit of a scour that kind of extends from that 5,000 block going south, and that's the scours that Michael was referring to that we'll fill in. And up on the right is Aberdeen access. You can see again it's a straight shot without any vertical elevation to help mitigate any storm surge that might wash in. back to the diagrams.
So again, on the y-axis, vertical axis is our elevations, and then, so we've tried to plot this at more of a regular scale in, again, to talk about these berms. And so most of the beach is between +3 to +5 NEVD, and we're proposing the +6 elevation for the berm. And so it's only going to be, as Chad mentioned, 2 to 3 feet thick. So we're not going to be blocking views. The vegetation that has been selected is low-lying. And so, and there's the dune management plan, which allows property owners to adjust their dunes in the future. They enter into a written agreement with the town. It's something that was put in back for the 2011 project, and we've carried it forward for this current permit. So there's a lot of opportunity to improve the dune and make dune changes over time, as long as the property owner works with the town and come to that agreement. And then another scour hole here at the end.
Yeah, so this slide addresses the concerns that we had coming forward. We had a low-lying area. The upland property owners were adamant that they wanted to preserve these pilings, so we worked with them. Unfortunately, that meant whenever you're doing a dredge project and you're spewing thousands of gallons, sand, et cetera, you can't really work a bulldozer and go in between these pilings. So we had to, the template is just north of these pilings, so we had to skip about 100 feet of shoreline to go past these pilings, which left the northern side of the south segment undernourished, I guess you would say. So it is low-lying, but we can address that with the truck haul. You can be a little bit more surgical with the truck haul, working with the Wyndham owner, who has been very gracious to let us use his property throughout these 3 years. And I think we have one more favor that he might grant us to go ahead and come out of the Wyndham and fill in that area just west of Creciente, Terramar, and Estero Beach and Tennis Club. It's not going to be a drastic amount of sand. Some people may look at it and say, hey, Chad, can you put more there? Unfortunately, FWC limited the amount of sand that we could put in there. They had concerns about the sand overwashing into that lagoon area. Again, this is all kind of pre-Ian. Ian did wash sand into that lagoon area anyway, so there is a lot of these condos are more beachfront than lagoon front these days anyway, but we have our design template and we can only build up to that elevation of that design template, but we will fill that template and it will at least be not as low-lying as it is and remove that discoloration that you're seeing from the water table that's so close to the sand and sitting water. So, more plantings. This is the more species diverse scheme 4 that we came up with. It wasn't in the original dune management plan, and I really didn't want to go back to FDEP to try and re-permit something we already had stamped with the dune management plan. So this scheme 4 that we came up with adds inkberry, which is a little woody shrub. You see its cousin, the scaevola, which is the bad invasive one. Inkberry is a native, so it's a little woody plant, and try and add more of that. Sea purslane is a little succulent. You can actually eat it. I guess it's good for you. So it's a little salty, so you may want to boil it first and make sure there's no dogs around whenever if you're going to eat it raw. And we have our beach elder as well, which is a great dune builder. It helps collect that sand, as do all of these plants. So this is the scheme that we're going to be promoting, especially we have some properties, Creciente, maybe Estero Beach and Tennis Club, and some of those that are in the CWA. We'd like to add these additional species. A lot of these species were there prior to Ian, and they've just gotten washed and flattened out and are no more. So we're looking forward to revegetating and increasing the species diversity, which is very important for resiliency whenever we're talking about our ecosystem out here on the beach. And then we also, beach access and restoration. Our accesses are wide open. Public Works has done a great job at putting our Moby mats and rope and bollards to stop the cars that were coming out on the beach. So the next thing is to vegetate. So we'll have hedges like sea grapes and buttonwood, green buttonwood, to try and block out some of that light and just kind of create a corridor, ground cover. Towards the asphalt, we'll use more color pop, so the red flowers, dune daisies, and golden creeper, so kind of beautify that. And then more towards the beach, we'll again go with Scheme 4. That'll be more your typical dune species. All of these will be native, salt-tolerant dune vegetation that'll be resilient to overwashes and come back. We're not going to be putting any collusias or anything like that that tend to wither and die whenever they get overwashed. Canopy trees, so we have sea grapes and buttonwoods, Florida thatch palm, cabbage palms, all of these, again, the hedges, the ground cover, and the canopy trees, they all serve to stabilize the dunes. Canopy trees, again, if you see what's survived, it's the sea grapes and the cabbage palms that were out there, maybe even some fish poison trees, Jamaican dogwood, just again, add species diversity that we have along the rest of Southwest Florida and repopulate it here on Fort Myers Beach. Again, working with our condo owners and any other upland property owners to, if they want to participate, have a native tree planting out on the beach. We're happy to work with them. All of these, in addition to providing the aesthetics, it's ground stabilization as well as whenever you have wave action coming in, those trees, sea grapes, cabbage palms, they all tend to break up those waves, so the wave energy into the infrastructure isn't as great. So, lots of thank yous. First off, the Fort Myers Beach community for all of their support. We could not have done it without y'all. Town Council for all of your support for these long 3 years of projects and your faith in us to get this job done, as well as all the staff support that we've gotten. It definitely takes a village to do all these projects. It was great being in the finance trailer when we're over at Trailer Hall. Mr. Joe's staff always, right there to help me with procurement and figuring out all these grants. Turned Michael into a bit of a pseudo accountant there for a little while, trying to figure out how to get all these things funded and keep track of all the percentages. Lee County Board of Commissioners and the Tourism Development Council for fronting us that money. I think it was like $4.9 million that they fronted us so we could have the cash flow to get the project done. The Marine Operations staff, Steve Boutel and Mike Campbell especially, for all their expertise that they gave us. Couldn't have done it without them. FDEP, again, a lot of funding came from them. Greg Garris's team working with us on the initial one, and then John Irving with the Hurricane Recovery Fund, and FWC for having the faith in us to get this project done and do it right without negatively impacting the wildlife. A big thank you to Michael Poff in that regard. They trusted us. Michael got all the monitoring set up, and we did it right and showed that we can get the project done and still be cognizant of the wildlife and their impacts and still let them do their things. So Army Corps, our federal agencies, NIMS, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for getting our federal permit out the door. And FEMA, again, the north portion, Beach Bob was instrumental. We were the first community that he visited. Beach Bob is like the guru over at FEMA, so he does all the beaches all over the U.S., and he was with us right after Ian within a month or so's time, and we were first in, best dressed with the beach, the emergency berm to get that up and get protected. So thank you, FEMA. Our Florida legislature and FDM for that LAP LAP grant. That $8 million went a long way. We definitely put it to great use, and that's part of the reason why we have less than 3% of a match in a $40+ million beach sand projects. Tidal Basin for all of their help. We've been through so many Tidal Basin people over the years, and they've all been great people, great friends, still keep in touch with them. So thank you to all of them for all of their help with all the grant writing and FEMA work. Our shorebird and sea turtle monitors, Michael did a great job at providing us with our shorebird monitors, turtle time with our sea turtle monitors, a lot of nest relocations, and it was just showing again that we could mitigate those impacts and do the right thing by the wildlife and still get these projects done. So we could not have done it without all of those monitors. Got a lot of sand from Stewart Materials. They did a great job at making sure that it has stockpile for us, ready to go when we needed it. Grubbs built our emergency berm. ICS participated in several projects, including that initial emergency berm, as well as some other trucking projects that we saw on the south end whenever we needed to hurry up and get some sand on the south end of the south segment to give us a bit of a buffer from that the shorebird nesting season. Earth Tech came in and filled in scours in the 8,000 block and 7,000 block and built that berm in some sensitive areas and did a great job. And last but not least, Atna Marine, who got the job done with the big dredge project and got nearly 1 million cubic yards of great sand onto our beach. Carr Environmental and Earth Tech Environmental for all their monitoring, and the fabulous and great crew of coastal engineering consultants led by Michael Poff. I've learned a lot from him, and I cannot thank him enough for everything that he's done. So that's all I got.
A lot of work there. Rebecca, any questions for?
I do, just a couple to clarify. You are right, Chad, it does take a village, and then some. So I just want to clarify, I think I heard the answer to most of my questions, but I just want to double check. So where you're putting the sand placements, you're going to replant, correct?
It'll be up to the upland property owner. So
So they may say no sand, but they'll take plants. Is it a combination of anything?
It could be plants and no sand. Well, the no sand is tough. If we were gonna, I'd like some direction to go ahead. It's very difficult to try and parse out which lots will get sand whenever we're doing a big project. So if we're going to get direction from y'all to do these sand projects, both down south and along Central Beach, we're going to put sand there, at least in all the areas where they've signed their easement and/or it's on state land seaward of the erosion control line. The vegetation, we can work with property owners who wants vegetation, who doesn't. This is outside of the dune management plan, so I've always tried to keep my word and say, hey, you signed on to the dune management plan. I'm not going to stack additional things onto you that you don't want. I don't think that would be fair. So if they don't want the additional plantings, I'd like to be sensitive to that. But if they do want the plantings, we have the monies and the capability to do that, and I think it would be a fabulous way to protect our investment in that sand.
I agree. Then the other thing, I just wanted to make sure we're not adding any sand on top of any protected vegetation now, mangroves, anything like that, right?
There will be sand.
Or if we do cover
There will be sand.
plantings, we'll replant.
Sorry. There will be sand placed on top of mangroves on that south side, but that is allowed for in the Mangrove Trimming and Preservation Act.
Okay.
We are only putting sand in that design template, which is permitted by FDEP, and there is a clause in the Mangrove Trimming and Preservation Act that allows for that.
Clarifies that.
I've thought about maybe trying to dig some of those mangroves up and save them and keep them going, but it's we got a lot on our plate, and we had a lot of this isn't the first time where we have mangroves growing out on the beach and everybody gets all excited and hey, these mangroves, what are you doing? Protect them, and then in about a month or two, those mangroves are going to be very, very thirsty, and they're probably going to wither and die. If those red mangroves don't have that tidal pulse to keep them hydrated, that dry beach is just not really suitable habitat for them. But we do want to save all the mangroves we can, and if we can mitigate and maybe transfer some here and there to try and save as much as we can. I'm all for that.
Thanks, Chad. We trust that you and your team know what they're doing, so we put it in your capable hands.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
Scott?
What's the time frame on this project, if we give the go-ahead?
So, you want to go ahead?
We have all the plans and specs ready to go, so we just need your blessing. It'll go out on the street for bidding, and then come back to council once we get responsible bids and get to work. The volume is relatively low compared to what we've done. It's these little spots, so we're talking about maybe a 30 to 45-day construction window. So the goal would be to start March 1st and be done by April 15th. We can go to April 30th without raising red flags with everybody else. The turtle time would have to start monitoring on the 15th and clearing the beach in case there's any early nesting. So again, the goal would be start March 1st, be done and off the beach before nesting.
That's great, thank you.
We'll have shorebird monitoring on a daily basis as well.
That's all I have, thank you.
Just one caveat on that, the project that's down south, we separated those two projects, so the Central Beach is going to be a separate project that we will go out to bid. The one on the south, we need to get going right away because shorebird nesting season, and we've already done the hard yards with procurement, so I think I have we got the 3 quotes. It ended up being under $75,000 for that south end, so we're going to try and do that very soon.
John?
You mentioned central and south end. Do you have specifics for people to focus on or areas?
Yes, sir. We can post those plans up on the website, and I can work with Ms. Abigail and get those up so everybody's clear on what's happening, and if there's any issues, we can get those addressed.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned that with our blessing, do you need something beyond what we're going to approve today then, or?
No, I think if we can have that resolution
Okay.
to direction for staff to proceed with the sand. We are, this grant is not going to last forever, so this is kind of our last chance to take advantage of these funds and get as much sand as we need and revegetate as much as possible.
Well, you both been very, very stalwart in this and very busy, and appreciate all your efforts as well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, good job to both of you guys and all your entire team. I know 5 hurricanes in 3 years definitely did not make your jobs very easy, but, and the community, the patience, I think, we had a couple people that were not happy about some of the speeds of the trucks and things like that, but for a project this size, I was pretty excited to see how few resistance we had when it came to getting that beach back. So I'm looking forward to getting this finished, so maybe you guys could take a vacation or something. I don't know. He gives a thumbs up. Not you. You're never going to get a vacation. You're always going to be working. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any more conversation, or is there a motion to approve the beach recovery project as presented today?
So moved.
Got a motion by Counselor King,
Second.
seconded by Vice Mayor Safford. No further discussion. Counselor King,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Safford,
Aye.
Counselor Link,
Hi.
and I'm an aye as well. That motion carries unanimously. Thanks, guys. Next is, everybody kind of clear out for a second.
Losing our fan base.
You're assuming they were fans.
That's nice.
Yeah. Just the answers, yeah. All right, next is item B. It's Resolution 26-036, U.S. ACE easement for Matanzas Pass dredging project. This is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, granting a temporary work easement not to exceed 24 months to Lee County for use by the United States Army Corps of Engineers over portions of Hercules and Palm Avenues for the purpose of facilitating operation and maintenance work associated with the nearshore placement area for the Fort Myers Operation and Maintenance Project, Matanzas Pass, authorizing the mayor to sign the temporary work easements and directing the town clerk to provide a copy of the executed easements to Lee County for recording in the official records of Lee County, Florida, and providing for an effective date. Will?
This is more Chad.
Or Chad, okay.
Yeah, so we have the Matanzas Pass, just for anybody, just in case anybody's not aware of the project. So every so often, Matanzas Pass is dredged. Is it, Michael, 200,000 cubic yards? around 130,000 cubic yards they dredge out of there. A lot of that material is beach compatible, and we've been benefiting from that over the years, maybe even over the decades. Where, you know, our central beach, which is the nearshore placement template, they will fill that in, that area offshore, and then that sand migrates, which is why our central beach, you know, from like Lani Kai all the way to Junkanoo is so wide. It's a little bit low lying, but it is very wide, and that's part of that nearshore placement migrating in, and we are benefiting from that project. So Lee County and Army Corps asked us for these easements. It's asking for a 90-day window, construction window over a 2-year period. So we're not saying that it's going to be a 2-year project. It's just going to be a 3-month project sometime in that 2 years whenever they press green for go.
All right. Rebecca, any questions for Chad?
None.
Scott? John?
Nothing.
Thanks, Chad.
Thank you.
All right. If there's no further discussion, is there a motion for Resolution 26-036 for USACE easement for Matanzas Pass project?
I'll go ahead and move that, Mayor.
I'll second.
Motion by Counselor King, seconded by Vice Mayor Safford. Any further discussion?
None.
Counselor King?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Safford?
Aye.
Counselor Link?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. That motion carries unanimously. Next is item C. It is Resolution 26-016 CDBG DR Pool Engineering Negotiation. This is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, accepting, rejecting, or modifying the ranking and determining Opulent Outlines LLC as the most responsive and qualified firm as recommended by the Town Manager and Selection Advisory Committee based on the responses received to RFQ-26-02-AD for the Fort Myers Beach Engineering Architectural Services Bay Oaks Community Pool Rehabilitation Project, authorizing the town manager or designee to negotiate with the qualified firm and providing for an effective date.
Excited after many months and much effort to finally get past the RFQ process. And Jeff, if you have anything you want to add to this, what we've got is we've got the Selection Advisory Committee has made a selection of, of a firm for us to negotiate with to move forward with this project. So if I'm right, I think what we're asking for today is council approval for me to enter into negotiations with Opulent Outlines LLC to try and get us forward with the engineering process of this and on to hopefully the project shortly after.
Okay.
Any questions you have, Jeff is ready to, Jeff or Frankie can answer detailed questions. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff. Yep, oh, that's right, hi. Yeah, I see that. The owners of, are here from the company.
Okay.
Hi, Jeff Hauge, Community Services Director. I can answer any questions, or we do have the one that the committee selected, so if you have any questions for them, they can, I'm sure can answer whatever you need as well.
Rebecca, questions for?
No, I have no questions. This is exciting, very exciting. I just do have one quick administrative thing. Amy, I'll give this to you. There were a few pages, 202 and 212, that were hard to read in the packet. They kind of had wording on top of each other just to clean the record up. But no, this is very exciting.
Scott?
Can't wait to work with you.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
John?
No questions.
Jeff, the only question I have is, we've had a lot of discussions, obviously, staff over the last couple of years on design and what's going to really happen there. Is there anything that we can share publicly that, as far as design of, is it going to be built back exactly the way it was? Are we going to enhance it? Like we've had discussions over the last few years
Yeah,
to,
come on up.
to make it more of a
Absolutely.
destination?
We'll let the designers talk about that a
Yeah.
little bit more,
Yeah.
so.
How you guys doing? Sit down. I'm Jason with Opulent Outlines, and you've got Harris.
Good to see you again, Jason.
Thank you. With the design, the intent is that to use the existing structure and then really bring it to life. A lot of the existing pools and the existing pool, the existing kiddie area, but bringing in new slides, new, completely new hardscape, kind of redefining the entire area and just really making it spectacular for everybody and, all guests, residents, everything. So just try and take it to a whole nother level, create a different experience.
Yeah, it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. I've seen some of your work, and
Thank you.
And your design speaks for itself. So I think the public will be really excited to see what you guys come up with.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks.
you very much.
Yeah. All right. If there's no other discussion, is there a motion for Resolution 26-016 for CDB GDR pool engineering negotiation?
So moved.
Motion by Counselor King,
Second.
seconded by Vice Mayor Safford. Any further discussion? Counselor King?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Safford?
Aye.
Counselor Link?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. That motion carries unanimously. Next is item D. This is Resolution 26-017, North Tower CDBG DR engineering ranking. This is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, accepting, rejecting, or modifying the ranking and determining Tetra Tech, Inc. as the most responsive and qualified firm as recommended by the Town Manager and Selection Advisory Committee based on the responses received to RFQ-26-03-AD for the Fort Myers Beach Engineering and Architectural Services North Island Water Tower Project, authorizing the Town Manager or designee to negotiate with the qualified firm and providing for an effective date. Will?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, as you stated, the Selection Advisory Committee on January 12th made their rankings of Tetra Tech coming out first and Dunham Engineering coming out second to be the most responsive and qualified to perform the required services. I do have Frankie here to answer any questions specific about that, but our recommendation is to move forward with Tetra Tech enter into negotiations with them for the North Tower project.
Okay. John, any questions for staff?
None.
Scott?
None.
Rebecca?
None.
The only question I have is we haven't received the funding in any of these projects for the CDBGR funding, right? But they've been approved and the county has the money, it just hasn't come through to us at this point, right?
Good morning, Frankie Kirkpatrick, Community Development Director. To answer your question, sir, no. The county is in receipt of all those funds. They were guaranteed to these projects. It's not going to be taken away in any way, shape, or form. So, yes, we're proceeding as planned.
I think it just was important to clear the record up. There's been some conversation out there that the county has not received the funding and that we're still in the process of trying to get it approved, and that is not the case. This is just the next step in getting those funds released to us through the design process.
That is correct, sir, yes.
Okay. Thanks, Frankie.
Yes.
If there's no other discussion, is there a motion for Resolution 26-017 for the North Tower CDBG DR engineering ranking?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Safford, seconded by Counselor King. Any further discussion?
None.
Scott?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Rebecca?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. That motion carries unanimously. Next is Resolution 26-021, RFP-26-04-FN Financial Auditing Services. This is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, accepting, rejecting, or modifying the rankings and determining Malden and Jenkins as the most responsive and qualified firm as recommended by the Town Manager and Selection Advisory Committee based on the responses received to RFP-26-04-FN for financial auditing services, authorizing the Town Manager or designee to negotiate with the top-ranked firm, Malden and Jenkins, and providing for an effective date. Will?
So yes, Mr. Mayor, the Selection Advisory Committee ranked the top three firms as Malden and Jenkins, Citron Cooperman, and Carr, Riggs, and Ingram LLC in that order. And I think it was a good process, good selection. Finance Director is here to answer any specific questions if the council has them.
Rebecca, any questions for Joe?
None.
Scott?
No, I was part of the selection committee, and it was fascinating that everyone on the selection committee had the same top three.
Yeah,
So
that was
it's
cool.
well done.
Watch that.
John?
Nothing.
All right, nice, good job. Thanks. Easiest thing for you, Joe. If there's no other discussion, is there a motion for Resolution 26-021, RFP-26-04-FN for the financial auditing services?
So moved.
Got a motion by Vice Mayor Safford,
Second.
seconded by Counselor King. No other discussion, Vice Mayor Safford,
Aye.
Counselor King,
Aye.
Counselor Link,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. That motion carries unanimously. Item F is Resolution 26-019, which has been pulled, so we'll move on to G, which is Resolution 26-038, the Second Amendment to Water Meter Replacement for Geospatial Positioning Systems, GPS data. This is a resolution of the Council of the Town of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, approving a Second Amendment to the agreement with National Metering Services to include the additional service of providing Geospatial Positioning System, GPS data points, and lead and copper service line identification inventory for all meters in the town's water distribution system in the amount of $96,900 increasing the total amount of the agreement to $1,920,852, authorizing the town manager to sign the second amendment and provide for an effective date. Jeff?
Jeff Hauge, Community Services Director. Yeah, this again just enhances our ability. On the first part is about $64,600 for the GPS system. This will just help locate. Instead of having the water department go out, utilities department go out and actually dig and try to find meters after storms. This will actually give us the exact location where we can go right away and do shutoffs. So we don't have to shut off the main going in and then try to find out where the leak is. So this cellular technology and these new meters is going to be great. It's going to be great for billing. This is just another enhancement that we can do, that we can just shut off the meters a lot quicker. The lead and copper is compliance with FDEP and EPA. It's $32,300 for that portion of it. So just enhancing our utilities and water systems to comply with some federal agencies.
I'll tell you, Jeff, I'm really excited to see this. I know personally, and staff as well, spent many, many days trying to track down water meters to shut off after the storms, where you just see water shooting up in someone's property, and trying to find through all the rubble where you shut that water off was a daunting task. So this will definitely help expedite anything in the future, so I'm looking forward to it. Rebecca?
Jeff, I have a question. Will this help residents in any way, understanding what's happening at their properties? Would you be able to do, better testing or administration without
This will help
sending
for the
staff
billing.
out?
We don't necessarily have to, you see the utilities trucks going around and doing billing. This will eliminate that with the cellular service. It's automatic, so they'll be able to see it on their phone, their water usage. So yeah, that'll help tremendously. They'll actually be able to see it. So if they're not home or they're up north or somewhere else, they'll be able to see their water usage from there. They don't have to call us and say, "Can you investigate?" So it's not only going to help the residents, it'll help our staff as well.
Thank you for that. I've got a handful of complaints, but they're similar. And I would love to see, perhaps maybe if Abby would put something out when we get closer to this. This is a wonderful tool. We know so many of our residents are living somewhere else, only to come back and see a big bill and not know. But I encourage everyone to put these things on their app and monitor it. You're somewhat responsible for keeping an eye on your bills and things like that. So if that helps, that's going to be helpful to everyone.
Yeah, the utilities department, or the town only goes to where the meter is. After that, it's, unfortunately, probably it's the responsibility of the residents. So, yeah, if they can see that it's on their end too, or see that it's going up, we can check the meter and then we can assess after that.
Right, perfect, thanks.
Is there anything on this app that will alert, is there any algorithm that will detect what your normal usage is, say as a resident, and then all of a sudden it spikes? We all know leaky toilets, that's probably the number one thing that causes the water to go way up. Is there anything on there that will alert someone or send out a notice saying, hey, you normally use 1,000 gallons of water, now you've used 5,000 gallons, or you see that there's something that triggers that to alert you that there's a problem?
Yeah, I'm actually going to bring up Mark. Can you answer that one? Come on up. Yeah.
Yeah, come on up, Mark.
That would be really.
Just identify yourself for the
Yes,
record.
I'm Mark Ashton, Utilities Manager. Yes, there is. It's a high usage notification.
Okay.
And there are limits that you set, and the program will actually, like you say, sort of read what this account has normal usage. And then if it gets over a certain percentage, it will send out, if they get an email, you have to sort of sign up for an email notification on it.
Right.
And then it will send an email to whatever email address is that's on the account.
Well, that's great.
I love it.
Thank you. Any other questions? Scott, questions for staff?
No, two instances. I spent 2 hours. I knew where my cutoff was. I couldn't find it. So this is gonna save. I mean, I spent hours trying to find where that was at the Gypsy. It's
a lot of work.
So it's great. And Mark, thank you. It's crazy. This system now they can tell at what time of day. So I had a property that had an excessive water amount and found out that it was a new build, so they set the sprinkler on to run every day 4 times a day. So they can see when that water's being used. So it's fantastic.
That's a great point, and I think I would like to also, for any of the public that is listening, know that you can call in and you can get a report. I did, because I wasn't sure if a neighbor was using my water or if I had a leak. And within 24 hours, I had a report that told me the water usage and when it was being used. And the advice I got was, you know, if it's at a certain time of day, you know someone's using your water. If it's consistent, which mine was, it had a leak. It really helps you get to the problem. But there are a lot of ways that these things can help, as well as the staff, so that's all.
John?
Great.
Just a couple things. Mark, always a pleasure to see you. Your staff does a great job. I know I've worked with them on issues of leaks, especially around pools and condos. So thank you for the good staff. Jeff, where's the funding coming for this?
This is the water fund.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. I just want to take a moment, Mark, to thank you. Anybody that doesn't know Mark, you see that's one of the hardest working guys I've ever seen. And when he's done working, you see him walking up and down the boulevard with his ankle weights on. I don't know where you find the energy, but you are one of the hardest working people I've ever seen, and I thank you for your efforts.
Thanks, Dan.
And
I
just
appreciate all your support.
Just to clarify, that sweatshirt was brand new this morning.
I have no doubt. See, usually you only get to see his feet sticking out of a hole because he's down in there digging. So yeah, I don't doubt it. You probably just put that on at 9 o'clock. But
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
And we
Mark.
do
And
appreciate your
customer
support,
friendly.
too.
yes. All right, thanks, guys. If there's no further discussion, is there a motion for Resolution 26-038 for the Second Amendment to the water meter replacement for geospatial positioning system GPS data?
So moved.
Got a motion by Counselor King,
Second.
seconded by Vice Mayor Safford. Counselor King?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Safford?
Aye.
Counselor Link?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. That motion carries unanimously. Next is item H. This is a resolution. This is Resolution 25-022 for Angie Brewer Associates contract renewal. This is a resolution of the Town Council, or the Town of Fort Myers Beach approving an agreement between the Town of Fort Myers Beach and Angie Brewer and Associates LC for loan and/or grant acquisition and compliance services for a 3-year term with a start date retroactive to December 9th, 2025, with the option to renew for 2 additional 1-year terms, approving supplemental task authorization number 1 in the amount of $359,990, authorizing the town manager to sign the agreement, and supplemental task authorization number 1, and to expend budgeted funds, providing for severability and providing for an effective date. Will?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, our partnership with Angie Brewer has been great, and just continuing in that to help us manage our SRF loan and so forth. And I'll ask Joe to come up and speak or just answer any direct questions council may have.
Okay. John, do you have any questions for Joe? Or Joe, is there something you want to say before questions?
No, I don't need to speak unless you would like me to explain further or answer questions.
We'll start with questions, and if there's
Okay.
anything left, then you feel free. John?
Just the usual, where's the money coming from, Joe?
Oh, for Angie Brewer, okay. I'm Joe Wanzik, Finance Director. This is funded through both the water and the stormwater funds, primarily stormwater because most of the work is involving the stormwater system and the repairs like Tier 1 and those projects. So they do quite a bit of work behind the scenes for those, and so those are the funds that that would be drawn from in order to pay their invoices. And then it's also reimbursable through their SRF loans.
Thank you.
Scott?
That was my question as well.
Rebecca?
I have a quick question, Joe, on the scope of their work. Are they applying for funding for us? Is that part of their scope of work and managing that whole process?
Yes, that does include that, and they have found grants for us. There's recently like a $10 million grant that they found for us that was been discussed and considered over the past year. That may be a potential source of funding. It gets complicated because it starts to interfere with FEMA, and so if it's either one or the other is going to pay for something. So it's in the end it doesn't. We find out that we're really not getting ahead because it's just one source of funding. But they are trying, and they do come to us with grants that they are aware of. And there were, I think, 3 or 4 that they came to us for over the last contract period.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
I know you've spoke about it in the past, but how's your working relationship been with Angie Brewer? I know you've said in the past that they've been great to work with. Is that still the case?
Oh, absolutely. They're very responsive. They work very hard. It's quite complex what they do, And the one particular person that we work with has been very good in coordinating our meetings together with FEMA, with town staff, with the contractors that are involved. And so it's been very good. They manage those relationships for us, along with, of course, our own staff.
Very good. All right, thanks, Joe.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion or a motion for Resolution 25-022 for Angie Brewer Associates contract renewal?
So moved.
Okay, got a motion by Counselor King. I'll second it. Any further discussion?
None.
Counselor King?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Vice Mayor Safford?
Aye.
And Rebecca?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Our last item is item I. This is Resolution 26-035, the Town Council Policies and Procedures Amendment Appointments to the Town Council. This is a resolution of the Town of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, amending the Town Council's Policies and Procedures Manual to add Section 13 for the interview selection process for appointment to a vacant Town Council seat in the event of a declaration of vacancy consistent with Section 4.06 of the Town of Fort Myers Beach Charter and providing for an effective date. Will, Talisa?
Talisa, while you're coming up there, Talisa and Nancy are going to help with this discussion, Mr. Mayor, but
Okay.
definitely, I agreed with their recommendations that we maybe come forward and discuss with you to add some structure and uniformity to the process that we're going to be going through. So go ahead.
So I'll
Nancy.
start, and then I'll lead right into Talisa. She did a lot of work on this, and I do appreciate that very much. So what you have in your packets, basically, we find ourselves on the 17th with a vacant seat on our council, and the deadline, I checked with our town clerk, today is 5 o'clock. To date, we have 3 individuals who have come forward and expressed an interest in filling that seat. However, what's absent at this time is an actual process. And to keep it very orderly, transparent, and fair, we felt, staff and I, we all discussed that it might be beneficial to go ahead and identify today a procedure that would be followed on the 17th. So therefore, there's really no surprises as to how we go about it. With that said, Talisa and I, we worked on, we looked in your procedurals manual, and there you have a process for the selection of the town manager as well as the town attorney. And that's the starting point. So in your packets on page 1212 is an Exhibit A, which sets forth a proposed starting point. You heard this morning some comments from Jim Bowen regarding some suggested changes. And since the agenda was published, Will and I and Talisa, we've also have a few things that we'd like to present to you to maybe modify that a bit. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Talisa, and she can walk you through a starting point of a process for the 17th.
Good morning.
Hi, my name is Talisa Oliveira. I'm the Human Resources Director, for the record. So essentially, we wanted to implement this process to help you build a framework so that we could keep the appointment interview process structured and transparent. What we have laid out for you is that each person applying for the seat would come up initially with an introductory statement of who they are, why they believe they're a good fit for the role, their background, their qualifications. We see that as lasting about 3 minutes each, and the town clerk or the designee they'll assist with the entire process, making sure that each candidate is staying with the timelines and the questions as well. Following the introduction, we believe the town council should go through a structured interview process, and that really is dependent on how you would like to structure it. It could be as simple as we ask one question, or each town council member could ask one question each. That's up to you. And it's just important that every candidate is asked the same question. So following that process, there will be a deliberation, a public deliberation of the answers, the candidates, and then there will be a vote. So for me, oh, I'm sorry, I did add a section in there that I wanted your perspective on, if you think it would be helpful or not, to after we conclude the interview process. And I do agree that having kind of like asking a question, the way I see it, I agree with the gentleman who came up here earlier. That it should be, you ask one candidate, and then you ask the second and the third, and then you go, in that sequence, so that there's not the unfair advantage that one person gets all the questions first, and the other people have the time to have more time to think than others, essentially. But I was thinking after the interview process, to make sure we keep things structured and we stay on time, there could also be a third portion where if any of the town council members wanted clarification on one of the questions, they could ask the candidate individually on their answer if they wanted clarification. I don't know if you believe that would be necessary or not. I think it could be helpful to help keep things structured. So maybe some direction on that and clarity on that would be helpful from you. But yes, then following the interview process, we have the deliberation. There is a vote, and the majority vote would then, that candidate would gain the seat. Following that, we will have the oath of office publicly, and then the town clerk and human resources plans to have an onboarding after. And any questions?
I want to comment just on the vote. The procedure rules that you have in place right now, they contemplate that more than one attorney will apply for the town attorney position, and also more than one candidate would apply for the town manager position. The process, as you saw today, there could be a situation where there are multiple seats that are available where you would want to have some kind of ranking. Because if the first person doesn't work out, and I'll use Will as an example, he was number one. However, if there was no agreement on his contract, then we would have automatically gone to number two because they were ranked. If you only have one person applying for one category or one seat, it might be more efficient just to have someone make a motion, because the maker of the motion is transparent, and the vote would be transparent by a roll call vote as well. So we've kind of gotten the transparency issue off the table, and we do have a situation where we have one member of council, John King, who's already expressed that he believes that he has a conflict of interest voting on one of the applicants, and that is my opinion as well. Again, it is an opinion. So if there were to be some type of voice vote, or not a voice vote, a motion made, at that point, he would be able to declare a conflict whether he believes that there is one or not. Or if another individual is nominated through a motion, perhaps somebody else wants to declare. But it's a little bit different, and I think it might be more efficient. So I wanted to go ahead and put that on the table. Will and I talked about that, and I think you were in agreement with kind of simplifying it.
Yeah, I was, Nancy. And if you could also, I think we discussed that might also address the concerns of, a 2-to-1 majority or a 3-to-4 majority. It's still a majority if it's done in the manner that you're suggesting.
Correct. That does somewhat address some of the concerns that have been raised that I've heard, and I think Will has as well, that, not having all four of you vote on every candidate. But, even if you did all four vote on one, you still could have a 3-to-1, final result.
So is what you're saying is if it ended up being a 2-to-1, that would still be considered a majority?
Correct.
Okay. That's one of the questions I had, but.
So if I can clarify this just for people who may be watching, and as well as myself, if I understood this correctly, Council, are you speaking about if we would make a motion on a particular candidate? and then we do that for the next candidate and the next candidate. So it would be a candidate by candidate motion as opposed to a motion to
But a candidate.
vote on the matter of
But a
who should
candidate by candidate motion would then, for instance, I make a motion to appoint Amy. Amy gets a 4-0 vote. Is it really necessary to go ahead and make a nomination or a motion for Talisa, who would also perhaps get a 4-0 vote? Or Joe, who might only get a 3-0 vote? It
That's
kind
what
of.
I'm trying to clarify. Are you suggesting we move to that
I'm
type or?
I'm
maybe I'm
suggesting
not-
that because of the fact you only have one seat that's open, if you were to have two seats that were open, then I might go with, the first, the top ranking of them. But you only have one at this point, so it just seems that it would be more efficient, more transparent, perhaps even more equitable to just do it by motion.
Would there then be a requirement for a second of the motion, or would it be
Yes.
just, so you would
It
have,
would be a typical vote,
it'd be a
yes.
typical vote? So if there was a motion for candidate, whatever,
Yeah.
if there was no second, then that would.
Then
be
it
the
would
end.
die,
Then it would
correct.
die.
And that's just in lieu of having the ballots and then showing it on the screen because you only have one seat to make a decision about.
I guess I have a concern about that because we've just gone through that process with our committee and we had enough people in essence to fill it out, yet we went ahead and filled out a ballot, put it on a screen, and now for a council position, which in my mind is more important, we're not willing to do that, so that kind of bothers me.
We could have perhaps, but your rules right now, the way they're written for your committees, kind of requires that process. The going to the overhead process, the announcement of what each council member voted, that was basically for concerns of transparency, which I think we have addressed that. That was raised by several in the community. So we changed that process to make it very, very visible, very clear. But realistically, if you have one person applying for multiple seats, it could just be a vote on that one person.
I don't see that as being more transparent and clear, though, than what we've done already. I guess I don't see it as more transparent, what you're asking or offering.
Fair.
Scott, looks like you're
Yeah,
leaning in.
I don't either. I think the way we do it, you see all the candidates, you see who the council members vote for. It's super transparent. It's up on the screen.
So are you suggesting the ranking system similar to the,
No,
or just,
The way it's been done in the
the way
past.
it's been done in the past.
yeah, I'd be free to, yeah. I guess I
It's
don't.
just my opinion. I mean,
Yeah, I don't,
you know,
I don't see an issue with it either way, quite honestly. I mean, they're both transparent. If you're making a motion for a candidate, it's the same as putting the name on the screen, but I understand what both you and Counselor King are coming from as far as putting it up there, who voted for who, but I don't know. To me, it seems more efficient to do it in the way I think that the staff has recommended, but.
You also have, if we go the ranking route or option, you could have a situation where there's a tie vote, and then you would have to have a second vote. If you just go with one vote, and we can write your procedural rules either way, because you don't have any right now, it eliminates that second vote in the event of a tie.
So you're saying the alternative would be a ranking method?
No, the alternative would be simply for one of you to make a motion to appoint Amy to serve on the town council, and if she got the majority vote, then the decision would be made.
And if she did not, if it was a 2-2, if John made the motion, say, for Amy Baker, and Rebecca seconded, and then you voted, but it ended up in a 2-2, then we go,
The motion would
the
die
motion would die, and we wait for another counselor
for an
to-
alternative
Make a
motion.
motion on
make a
someone
motion
else.
for another candidate, and we go until we get a majority on one of the candidates.
To me, it
And
just
you
sounds
know,
like
it's
it's
still
a-
very transparent. Sorry, Mr. Mayor, it's still.
No, that's okay.
You know, the public is hearing the nominations, the seconds, and then, you know, the way each would vote for the different candidates, you know, just.
To me,
in
it
a
seems
very
like the same
public-
process, just one's verbal and one's on a piece of paper that gets read by the town clerk later. But to me, it
Well,
seems similar to the same
And
process.
also, would it be that that would help when you have someone that has to recuse themselves? They recuse themselves if there's a motion for someone that there's a conflict with, but not the others. That's
I
correct,
believe
right?
that is also, you know,
So in that
a benefit
case,
of this.
Here's what concerns me in that case, although I understand where we're going. In that case, then only two. If you've got 4 people, now you only need 2 people to vote for someone in. And I tend to like more of the body to weigh in on that. I think there's 2 ways to get to a result, but that's what would be different. So if if someone made a motion for someone that John had a conflict with, or anyone, I should say, then in that case, you only have 3 voting in the body as opposed to 4.
So are you suggesting what both Vice Mayor and Councilor King have suggested? Either way is fine for me. I think it gets us to the result we need to get to, but,
Yeah.
you know, it's just not something to die
One
on the
just may
vine.
take us a couple rounds, one may not, yeah,
It-
and that's how
so
we've done it
It sounds to
in
me
the
like
past.
you've got consensus, or at least a majority consensus, to do the paper like we do similar to the.
So we'll do it the same way that we do our committees and the same way that the town manager and the town attorney are selected.
That's another thing that I know it was raised by Jim in the public comment as far as the equality of the questions and time to prepare. Is there a way that we can do it similar to that we did with the town manager and the town attorneys, where one candidate was in the room and was asked the questions and then went out while the other candidate came in, and just to expedite, you know, to make it move a little bit faster so nobody got to hear what the questions were? I think, to me, that
Absolutely.
shows consistency in the
Sure.
process of all 3. But
That is true. However, I will tell you, we've sat through lots of interviews where, you know, we are live on TV or on the internet, so just
them in a
putting them
room
out
over
of the
there.
room.
We can move
No,
them
we did
to
the
a
same.
room
We
and
just
ask
did the same thing with the
have their
town. I mean, that was really cool. We all, each of us asked one question. They had a opportunity to introduce themselves, and then we all asked the same question. And I think that went really well, because I gleaned when we were doing. I'm sorry. I gleaned a lot of that. I mean, and the public, it was totally transparent. The public saw the questions. They were all the same questions. I really liked that process. I think if we could replicate that with this, that would be a win for everybody.
Absolutely. And the candidates, we had them in a room with our HR generalist, so there were no TVs on.
We were supervised.
Right,
We weren't on our
right.
phones.
It's like
We
a
were
game
just,
show,
So
yeah.
it was, I think, I agree. I think the process there was very good, and both also transparent, but also, you know, it kept them from hearing the questions in advance.
I do have another concern about asking the same question of everyone. This is going to be a unique selection, and not everybody, I can't ask the same question of everyone, because one individual, I require some more information on specifically from them. So I can't buy into that for that reason.
Is there a reason, Mr. King, that you couldn't ask that question of all the candidates?
It doesn't apply to all of them.
Then their answer would be as such, wouldn't it?
But that's fine, then I guess I can ask the same question of everybody, and even though it doesn't apply.
Yeah, or, you know, we could, you know, I could work with you to see if there's a way we could ask the question in a more generalized way.
Not a
Reword it.
generalized way.
Okay, okay, understood.
No, that's fine, I can do that.
And then, Talisa, will you, in the past, you've provided sample questions, or HR has provided sample questions. Will you be doing that same thing? And council members can choose one of those, or something different?
Absolutely. If you would like, I'm more than happy to help. I can provide samples, and then we can have a discussion, or if there's anything specific that you would like to ask, I can help with that as well.
Well, I found it, I don't think I used any of the questions you guys proposed, but it gave me an insight as to what you can ask and what you can't ask, you know, as far as there's certain things you can't ask questions about and there's certain things that you can. And even though I maybe didn't ask one of those questions specifically how it was written, it did give me some guidance. So I would like to see that recommendation from staff, because for several reasons. One, it keeps us in the guardrails, and two, it gives us some insight as to maybe some of the concerns that staff has for one of the people that will be giving direction to the staff. So I think it would be beneficial, but I'll listen to my fellow counselors, see if that was it informative or was it helpful in your questions that you asked and the town manager and the town attorney in the past. John, I know you've been around the longest.
He's long in the tooth. Yeah, no, I agree. I found, at least, if nothing else, it gave maybe a framework or generated different thoughts of questions. So I think it's very good.
So I have a comment. I'd like to work with Talisa on some of those questions. And the reason for that is you all have a very difficult job. And just to be selected from the audience and to be asked to come and sit in a seat and make some very important decisions, especially since we will have some land use items. We want to make sure that the three or whoever applies before 5 o'clock today, that they understand, and when they come and sit in the chair, they're ready to go. And I believe that, speaking with Amy, at the close of business early tomorrow, that we would be reaching out to those that have applied, advising them of what the process would be so they have no surprises, requesting that they do review the agenda for February 17th so that when they are selected, they can come and occupy the seat, and we don't skip a beat in doing the town's business.
All right. Any other questions for Talisa or staff?
I would just add to Nancy's point too, that we'll make ourselves available to those applicants as well if they have questions of items that are on the agenda, just like we meet with all of you to answer those questions too. We'll make ourselves available for those discussions before the 17th.
That handles my trepidation. I had some great trepidation of them just stepping up, because there's a lot to digest, but if you're willing to do that, I'll feel a whole lot more comfortable. I mean, I trust you guys. I mean, I think you and Mr. Brady, whomever it is, but it's a lot to digest. So I think you offering to do that gives me some relief, and I'll be very happy. I'm really happy that you're willing to do that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
key. It's going to be key for sure.
Yeah, this is a new process. Our goal is for it to be very transparent, and so as long as Will approves, I'd be happy to answer any questions or help navigate.
And Talisa, how many questions are you anticipating that we will ask?
That is up to you. So for the town manager process, it was 1 question per council member. So in this scenario, there would be 4.
Yeah.
4 questions that we could ask each of them.
Well, I think it's important to have a couple questions because one of the other council members may ask the same question that you're going to ask.
I think it would be fair as 2 each.
I concur with that. I think if there's maybe an administrative or some other type of question, say one of the counselors wants to ask, like we discussed earlier, I think that's okay, up to 2, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 each?
Yeah.
Okay.
You okay
got
with that?
it.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think that's fine. I think the more questions you can ask, the more it kind of narrows down what the council would think would be the greatest fit, so.
Absolutely. And do you think the clarification session after the questions is helpful, just in case there was anything that came up? Because we want to keep the interview process pretty structured in the sense that you ask the question and they answer. Then following that, if you had any clarification questions on their answer, because we don't want to get too much in the back and forth.
I think if we did that, then your issue would be addressed if something.
I have a lot of issues, Scott.
I know. How you're wearing shorts is beyond me, but.
But it does say that you can't, in what the scenario that you're laying out, it does say in the process that's here, you can't ask a new subject matter. You can expound on the one question that you asked.
question that's
Or
been
would that be any question? So say, for instance, Counselor King wanted to ask a follow-up question based on something that Counselor Link said. Is that within the procedures that you see here, or would it be specific to your question asked?
That is up to you. My recommendation would be we keep it very structured where you ask the question, they answer, and then we leave it there. And then you can create any follow-up questions you have and leave that into the next section. That way, we don't get into too many back and forth deliberations and extend the process. And then you might be asking new subject matter that the other candidate, was not asked.
So keep it specific to the questions that you ask.
Yes.
If there is, I like having the option, if you need a follow-up question based on, maybe there just wasn't enough time, or they didn't answer, or you didn't get quite all the information that you wanted. I think having the option to ask that qualifying question is important, but you don't necessarily have to use it if you don't feel that you need it, right?
Agree. So it would be similar to, at the end of when you deliberate, does anybody have any follow-up questions? We would just do that separately at the end. And so, I think it just gives you an opportunity to ask clarification questions, but not within the structured interview process, so you don't, so there's not too much back and forth that happens and strays away from the process or the subject matter at hand.
Okay.
So would there be a time limit for the answers?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I recommended 3 minutes. I know that's similar to what we do for public comment, but I'm open, if you would like that to be shorter or longer, just let us know.
Well, I think it's going to depend on the question, right?
Yeah.
It could be a very easy question, or it could be a very long-winded question, so.
Right.
I think having the flexibility to maneuver a little bit should you need to
Sure.
is important.
Up to 5 minutes.
Yes, Mayor, I wanted to mention that as well. So your procedural rules, they are your procedural rules. They are your discretionary way of you want to conduct your business. This particular selection process is not mandated by state law or in your code of ordinances. So on the 17th, if something comes up and we have to stray a bit from the adopted rules, that's perfectly legal, okay. However, today we find ourselves with absolutely no real guidance on how we're going to do it, maybe based on past practice, but memories might differ. So I think I appreciate your consideration of adopting, a draft procedure that we can at least try to follow.
I did go back and watch the video from almost 2 years ago when we went through this process previously, and all we did was the folks got up, introduced themselves, talked, and then the mayor asked if we had any questions of them, and then we proceeded to a vote. So that's just
So
sharing.
that would have been that first option, I think, that I tried to put on the table, but then the second option is to do it the way we did today when we had the one individual apply for the 3 seats that were open. So it's discretionary in your part, whatever you guys would like to do.
So I think just to recap, if you got I think it sounds like we're going to go with the same format as far as selecting a candidate as the.
As you
your
do for your committees, with a paper ballot, and then the clerk will read it, announce it, and then you would take a vote to say that she announced it correctly, and
And are we
we'll
going to
move
do
on.
just one selection versus ranking them, like we did with
Well,
town
if
manager?
we do the committee, it's going to be a rank. You do have more than one applicant already.
But in a committee, if there was 3 applicants for 1 seat, you would just select one name, not this one, not 1, 2, 3. In a committee, whereas the town manager, it was Will, and then it went down the list of the other 4. So either way is fine. I mean, if you think ranking it is better than just selecting one person, I don't.
Personally, I think just selecting one person would be better because of the fact that you eliminate a second tie vote.
Yes.
Okay.
But
No,
just
and
give
that's
us-
fine. I just wanted clarification as
Yeah,
to what that
but
was
give
gonna
us
look like.
direction, and Talisa will try to put it in writing, and then we'll try to get that out to them tomorrow or shortly thereafter, so the candidates do know, or the applicants, they know what the process is going to be. We'll all be familiar with it as well, and it can manage the meeting very well on the 17th.
So is everybody okay with that? You'll select one name if there's a majority in that first round, and that would be the person that takes the seat. If there's not, then you go to a second round and do the same thing all over. Amy's got the look on her face like, oh, no.
Yeah, I don't care for that. I would rather most people vote who can. That would take it down to 2 if we did it.
Well, I think
one at a
everybody,
time.
I think all 4 council members can write down a name in this scenario. Whether or not it's all the same name is obviously up in the air, but everybody still gets to vote. It just depends on, I see where you're going with it, and I understand.
Well, the recusal, I think, is the sticky part.
I mean, I can't, that's up to Counselor King and what they recuse or don't recuse themselves on. They have to make that decision, not,
I agree.
you know,
I
it's
agree.
not us.
But
Right.
if you were doing a committee selection, there still could be a conflict with one of the individuals who have
Sure.
applied. And then
agree.
you would declare the conflict and you just wouldn't vote on that particular appointment. But it's a different scenario because we only have one seat.
That's right. I prefer that we do it the way we have done it, but that's just me.
Isn't that what
And
we're
I'm
doing,
just
though?
one person. No.
That's what we
I
are doing.
thought
Can you
Nancy was
clarify
saying-
Yeah,
your
I'd like to know what
understanding?
your, 'cause I think we're
Yeah.
doing it how we do the committees, but maybe you
Right.
see it a little different.
Oh, okay, so that the motion would not be a particular motion for a particular candidate that then everyone votes on. It would be, we have the ballot and then we,
That's how we've,
that's how we've done it.
That's how we've
That's
always
what we're
done it,
saying
yeah.
we do it.
That's the way you're saying to
And
do
a
it
ballot
now.
to pick one or to rank?
I think
Oh,
just
I think to pick one.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we're saying the same thing.
Okay,
So
thank
it
you
would
for
be a
the
paper ballot,
clarification.
you would select one name from the list. If there's a majority on that, then that would be the council member, or the new council member that would be seated. If there's not, then you go back and you do the same thing over
I
again.
agree. Okay, thank you, because I thought you were saying, Nancy, excuse me, newbie here, that you were saying someone would make a motion to say, I would like to appoint so-and-so, candidate A, to that seat, and then.
No, I think
everyone
that
would
was,
vote,
that
and
was
then
the
candidate
suggestion
B.
from staff, but the consensus
No.
of council was that that's not the way they want to.
And that's okay, and it works. And I think we'll have a very orderly,
Of
transparent
course.
Okay.
decision.
And then we will, just to continue on, again, trying to wrap a bow around this, there's a lot of talk that's going on. From there, the candidates will then be separated to a room that they can't hear the questions. We will go member by member that applied, however many it is, in this case it's 3. Will be asked a round of, will we do both questions at the same time like we do for the town manager? I think that makes sense. You go down the line and then you ask the second question, then you bring in the next candidate and then the next candidate.
Yes.
Is
Yes,
that how everybody
exactly.
sees this
Yep.
going?
Yes.
And then the other thing is with the 3 minutes, I think to broaden it a little bit, maybe have it 3 to 5 minutes. That way if, again, it's a long-winded question. I'd hate for someone to say, hey, it says 3 minutes and they went 3 minutes and 8 seconds. You know what I mean? Open that a little bit to allow some flexibility, or if they're under 3 minutes,
Or
that's
nor
fine.
do they have to speak for 3. If it's
No.
a quick answer,
Yeah.
it's, yeah, we move on.
But not knowing
Absolutely.
what the questions are gonna be from the council members, I'd like to have a little flexibility personally in there to be able to
So
expand. that.
perhaps you don't put a time limit, and then if they go on and on and on and on, you can
Right.
kind of give them the hint.
Yeah, time to bring the hook.
For the town manager process, it was, I believe, 15 minutes per candidate for the question. So you could also do like a total minute block where it's not, per question, but you could say 15 minutes per candidate. Or we could just say as advised by the town council.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with not having any time limit on this. I mean, I don't think any of the candidates are gonna sit up there and filibuster, so I'm not too worried about that, but
it's not
I just
comfortable
would
up
hate
here.
to have any kind of confusion out there, no matter who gets selected, there be some animosity. This person spoke for 3 minutes and 8 seconds, and this one spoke for 3 minutes and 15 seconds, and, just to, is everybody okay with that? I mean, I think it'll be easy.
You got it. Well, we will remove the time limit.
And also, could you guys comment on how you're going to handle public comment? Just for clarity?
Sure. I mean, I have it in the process that there's a public comment before the interview process starts.
On top of the 3 minutes at the beginning of the meeting. So they would have, I'm assuming this agenda item will come after the initial open public comment, right? Or would this be before public comment? As it's laid out on the agenda?
We can do it either way. How, if you want it part of the opening 3 minutes, we can, or we can put a public comment in this.
No, I'm okay with it, having the public comment before this agenda item, but is that in addition to, so if someone feels they need to speak for 6 minutes, are they gonna have the ability to speak in normal public comment on maybe something else and not be?
No, we didn't have public comment for the town manager.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think you-
remember we did. If we didn't, I don't remember.
We
did.
probably did.
But there was also a meet and greet before and all that kind of stuff, so. I mean, most people know the three candidates, and they'll probably talk to them, but I'm okay either way. Again, if they want to limit it to just the public comment at the beginning and not for the specific agenda item, but
I would want you to make a decision as early in the meeting as possible.
yeah, okay.
So maybe you even do it after the Pledge of Allegiance. And then there's public comment regarding that specific item.
And then keep the public comment after
Yes,
for any other.
for other
agenda.
things that are on your agenda. And
Yeah, I'm
then
okay with that.
the first item would be the approval of the final agenda. So you'd have a person sitting here making that vote as their very first vote
Makes sense to
in
me.
the seat.
Yeah, so you have two public comments, one.
One
for-
specific and then
Yeah, that's.
abroad.
Yeah.
You okay with that, John?
I am.
All right. Rebecca?
Yes, I am. May I have a quick question, though, again, about the questions?
Okay.
And maybe a suggestion. I'm not sure how we'll do all these questions things, but could it be a possibility, just to think through with the group here, if we had a handful of questions, let's say you gave us a sheet and there were 10 questions, or however many, and then each of us could rank which questions were most important to us, like this is my first, second, third. And then if someone else takes that question, I would go to my second, or you'd go to your
Yeah,
third.
that's how we did last time.
And then if we
We-
have 10 questions, we already know Nancy's looked at them, they're good, Talisa's looked at them, but we have a list of questions that we can pick and choose from.
Wouldn't that require another public meeting?
Would it? I'm not sure
You
how those
can't
questions are
share
gonna come.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think.
No,
the-
we
it-
wouldn't share it, but they bring it to us.
I think it worked really well, how it went with the last few times we've had to go through this with the town manager, town attorneys. You get a list of 10 or 20 questions from staff, you can choose to use any of those.
Got it.
But you know, there's gonna be one question that maybe you think is most important that you're gonna read. Doesn't mean that Scott's not gonna have the same one, but if, say, you go first,
Yeah.
Scott's gonna know that you're already at, and he's gonna
Right.
go to his next question.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
that's
That's
exactly
kind
what
of
I
how
was
we did.
suggesting.
That's
Yeah.
kind of how
That's
we
what
did
you
it. I probably picked out 4 questions, and I think I don't
Yeah, there
remember
was a
who it was.
duplicate. There was a
There
duplicate.
was a duplicate, so I just went to my
Perfect,
my
yeah.
next
I
question.
like that.
So.
Yes, so I can provide the questions before the process, so you can take a look at them, and then you'll have like your predetermined list when you get in, and then if somebody asks your question, then you would just go to your second question
Perfect.
and ask the
That's
same
great.
question of all candidates.
I think it works for me.
Yeah.
Anything else anybody wants to add or change or modify?
No, thank you.
Thanks for this work, Talisa.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the public will enjoy having this
So-
system.
Absolutely.
Can we get a vote on the resolution
We-
as amended?
Yep, I was working on it. Just making sure nobody had any other questions. All right, is there a motion for Resolution 26-035 for the Town Council Policies and Procedures Amendments, appointments to the Town Council as discussed and laid out today?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Vice Mayor Safford, seconded by Councilor King. Any further discussion? Councilor Safford?
Aye.
Councilor King?
Aye.
Councilor Link?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. That motion carries unanimously. Next is final public comment. Anyone? Yes, sir?
Nope.
All right, final that's great. First time in a couple months
For
for final
For
public
final.
comment.
Right.
final
Hi,
public.
good morning. Craig Luce again. We want to thank you for your attention to the sand project. Staff had a good presentation. The 30 or so people that came out last minute appreciated it. We appreciate your unanimous vote. I look forward to going home and emailing the hundreds of residents on the 7,000 block and show how staff and council work together to create this good result. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Craig.
We appreciate you emailing them all.
Yeah, we don't usually answer public comment, but I just want to make a statement that it was great that the entire, you had a lot of people out here, and it's great to see our local residents involved and concerned and coming to our meetings. It was great. Thank you.
Either of you two gentlemen have anything you'd like to add at the time of, no? Okay. We'll close final public comment. Town manager items.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would say to the applicants, it felt a lot longer than 15 minutes when I went through it, so just a warning.
I'm glad you said it, because I was going to say, you talked a lot, Will. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe it's my own fault it
Yeah.
felt longer, but thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few things for the council and public today. We're going to be going, we have some processes that we use to look for different companies and contractors, purchasing cooperatives that allow us to look across a broad network of of companies that have been vetted, for us, and we'd like to expand to another one called Texas Share, which is going to, and Amy can talk in more detail here in a few seconds, but it's going to allow us to expand a little bit more that breadth and menu, if you will, of companies that have been vetted for municipal contracts, municipal work by a cooperative in another part of the country. So just, we wanted to make the council and our residents aware that we're going to be using another source like that, a civic market kind of place. Amy, anything to add to that?
No, what Will said is accurate. The more we can expand the possibilities of where we can purchase these commodities, I think it's better. They go out and they solicit a lot of different goods, commodities, services, go through the whole vetting process, and then we just have to, piggyback on that.
It doesn't change our procurement process at all. We go
No,
through
I
all
was
that.
going to add that your procurement code already provides for this cooperative purchasing, and currently the town has an agreement with Sourcewell, so expanding it to another co-op is very consistent with your code.
Perfect.
Next, an update, a short update on Fort Myers Beach Elementary School and stuff. I know the school district made the announcement over the weekend that made the public announcement that Attorney Kathy DeBree Bruno is leaving, is going to be leaving the school district for another position in another part of the state. They made the announcement too of who they're nominating to replace her for the board to consider, we're still in negotiations. I expressed my concerns with the deputy superintendent about this possibly extending our negotiations, how I don't want that to happen. I'd like to be able to continue at the pace, hopefully a better pace than what we've been on, but I do understand there will be impacts. Just wanted to make sure that the council was aware of that change, and I can pass any questions along if you have them. We are moving forward with our advanced digital tools, as I discussed before, and one, Polymorphic, is one is going to help us with special events workflow, the application and permitting process for special events. I really feel that digital tool will allow that process to go more smoothly, answer a lot of the questions that applicants will have before it even gets to the permit text and so forth. And then when they get to there, really it's a more robust and complete application by the time it does get to our staff. We're also looking at virtual assistants for both the website and telephone support. We've had some modeling of that, pass the information along to Polymorphic. They're building a model for us. We're going to have the Ask Danny tool on both of our things, Danny the Dolphin, on both of our website, and then but then the virtual assistant telephone one will be a similar thing, a similar tool, but just over the phone. Strategic plan draft, I'm going to ask Tracy to talk about coming up next month's M&P, but staff is still doing some work on the strategic plan with our partners, and then, but just give you all a heads up of what we'll be asking the council for.
Thank you, Will. We are again meeting with USF as a leadership team. We will take all the wording that you had for your vision, mission, core values, taking a look at goals and then objectives to bring forth to you as a draft for consideration and conversation on March 5th after the M&P meeting. So looking forward to your vision.
Thanks, Tracy.
And then I sent, we had some discussions with you all over the past week on our plan for the 30th anniversary celebration. We're planning on, for March 6th, celebrating the 30th anniversary of our great town, starting off at Bayside Veterans Park, Veterans Memorial, where we'll have some comments by some leaders of the town, and we're getting ready to send out some formal invitations to some elected leaders around the state and for our local area to come and speak. We'll start there with those comments, and then Tracy's been working with our historical society as well as the arts groups around the town, and we're going to have alongside Old San Carlos historic photos, progressive, of the town, and some artwork by local artists of the town and our area here, where people can walk and mingle as they move up Bayside Veterans Memorial on the way up to Times Square, where we'll eventually end up in Times Square to have some more leader discussions, comments by leaders, and then a talk by myself, and I'll talk with you, Mr. Mayor, on kind of our vision, visioning of the future of Times Square in that area of the park. That's our concept as of right now. And, of course, I wasn't done yet, but thanks for the reminder. We are going to recognize the longstanding tradition in the town by having cupcakes to be handed out at the end of the ceremony. And we have spoken with the ladies who've been involved in that process before. As much as they are able, they're going to participate with us. But the town is also, we're going to make sure that we have enough cupcakes to share with the public. And we're entering into a partnership with a great town partner, Tuna Skin, to help us with a limited edition 30th anniversary shirt that will be available as well at the end of the ceremony there. Finally, before I'll let you ask me questions at the end, M&P this week, we have a couple of items on there I think are interesting discussion. The donation policy that I've been working with staff and with Nancy on, and then a discussion regarding flood panels, which I know many of you have asked us to address. So we're planning on having a discussion at the M&P on that this Thursday. So, pending your questions, that's all I have for today.
Rebecca, any questions for Will?
Well, will the road be shut off when we are between Veterans Park and Times Square? Or will it be open for traffic to come in?
A portion of it will be, the portion where we're going to be having those displays, but not the whole road.
Okay.
So there will be a time we'll have direct people onto the sidewalks as we move up to Times Square. But our Director of Emergency Services is working with Lee County Sheriff's Office, and we'll have that all worked out and facilitated and safe. But we're trying to minimize the impact of the businesses
Sure.
down in that area as much as we can.
Scott, any questions for Will?
I know we had spoken about this last month, but is there a date when we're gonna have Mr. Yazzo's team down at that stoplight, or is it, we're just gonna kind of play it by ear?
Yeah, it's conditions based at this time, I would say. Counselor Safford, definitely he's got his team ready and trained, and as I mentioned previously, he's got Commander Layler and the Lee County Sheriff's Office have also allocated some of their auxiliaries to assist us as well, to work with our rangers down there. So, yes, we're ready to respond as needed.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
John?
No questions.
The only question I really have is, and I know we've talked about it, but there seems to be some growing concern with the time it's taking to get development orders, things like that, through the process. And I know we've had a change with planners that have left. Can you give the public an update as to where we are as far as shortening some of that? You know, it seems to be increasing, which is not the course I think that we want to be on. And I know we're limited as far as getting staff in here, but is there any kind of update you could give any of the public as to how we're going to try to right that ship, I guess, for lack of better terminology?
Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Mayor. I would say staff is working very hard, and I think the process is actually better. But understand that on a case-by-case basis, it may feel sometimes that certain things are taking longer or being more difficult. We are addressing that. As I have told you and others, we're addressing it through a couple of different means, trying to bring on some more staff, which we have. Thanks to HR working with community development and the team they have, we've brought on another planner, associate planner, right, to help with things, and that has allowed the community development director to shift some of the focus of some of the planners, to allow some of the bigger, more difficult projects to go to those that are more qualified, more experienced in those, and allowing others to work through some of the other plans. And then as a team as well, just having more eyes on the projects with great oversight from the supervisor and the director. Also, the tools that we're bringing on board. GovWell, we started with the GovWell system a couple of weeks ago. They first came in for onboarding of that, which thanks the council for approving that contract. And GovWell is going to allow more integration across the different systems and allow faster access to some of the materials for our staff, as well as for the folks on the outside when we get it fully onboarded. So that's one thing that we're using, not quite up to speed yet, but I know it's going to address some of those concerns in the future. I would add, I address that, there are times when the staff does the review, sends back their questions, insufficiencies, and we would prefer if all of those answers came back together in a packet as opposed to one at a time. One at a time tends to slow the process down because then the staff response goes back and they have to wait for an address to that specific question, that specific directive.
Can I jump in there real
yeah.
quick, just on that part of it? Is, in the past, before the storm, it was, you know, someone would send something in and environmental would reject it and would go back, and then it would come in, and then instead of looking at the entire totality of the project and making comments from environmental, from you know, all the different departments that have to review it, instead of reviewing it as a project whole and then sending it back and saying, here's all the lists of things that we have found in your submittal, are we still continuing to do it that way, or have we gone back to environmental? I'll just use environmental because that's the first one that popped in my head, but you know, it goes through environmental, here's our rejections, they fix that, then flood reviews it, and then flood kicks it back. Or are we not, we're not doing that path anymore, we're still doing the full review to go out, to come back? And the reason I say that is some of the complaints that I'm hearing from some of the developments that have been approved is that as we've transitioned, whether people have left for whatever reason, the reviewers, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of consistency, at least in their eyes, of, you know, where the guardrails are and how one planner interprets the code versus how another person interprets the code, and it's in the middle of the process. And I think that's where some of the frustration is coming, more than the process itself, as opposed to an opinion on how planner A versus planner B viewed the code.
I would like to echo that sentiment too, because after the storm, that was one of the biggest things that the town council fixed. Is it was like a pickleball game. It's like here's the ball was going back and forth over the net, and one of the things I wasn't on council then, but I think one of the best things you guys did was made sure that these reviews are done in full, not this piece, that piece, this piece, that piece. So I want to echo that sentiment. That I want to continue to. I would like to see that the entire thing's reviewed, A, B, C, D, and then not, oh, hey, we forgot about F. So I hope we're continuing on that path. So I'll let you.
Sure,
share
I can
your
address
insights.
both of those things very simply. Again, Frankie Kirkpatrick, Community Development Director. Basically what we've done is it really had very little to do with staff and how we do staff. It was what staff was looking at what. So when projects come in, they come in through the Planning and Zoning Department, and they get split up. They get split up based on the need for what needs to be reviewed. And addressing why one was kicked out for this, one kicked out for that, we do an insufficiency letter we should be doing, and we do about 99% of the time based on the packet. So what we see in the packet, we're addressing all those things. What happens 9 times out of 10 is we'll get one response back from the person that's doing their traffic study. Another week, we'll get another response back from somebody that's doing their engineering. Those need to be addressed at the same time, only because we're looking at the totality of the project. We're not looking at just one little aspect. They all kind of tie together. The absence in the projects, as far as one being reviewed, environmental here, and then all of a sudden it gets kicked back, and all of a sudden this, we did have a little lapse where projects were coming in and not going right to Chad for the environmental. They were going to Access and having their broad brush planners looking at the environmental as they apply to the town of Fort Myers Beach's codes. And there we had a little discrepancy with about 2 projects going on with that.
Let me ask you a question on that, Frankie. I guess I'm trying to understand how the process, it sounds like you're doing exactly what has been efficient in the past and sending back any rejections all at once. Are we requiring the applicant then to respond to all of them, or are we letting them do, what is the direction we're giving to the applicants?
So we're working with the
reply
current
back to
project
those?
right now, and the current project that we're working with, for lack of a better term, is just all over the place. We'll get a response back to an email sent to one planner, response back to, I left you a phone message to another planner. So we had a meeting with this group about a month and a half ago, and it explained every developer on this island, big or small, we send you the insufficiency letter, we ask that those responses come back to us in that order, in that packet. We give you a packet, we want the packet back.
Okay.
We don't want hodgepodge here and there, because that's where things really get, you said about keeping in the guardrails.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, that same planner who's working on multiple projects is like, I got a response back, but yeah, I'll get to that. It's not cohesive. We need to see that addressed in a packet. And that's how we keep our planners on track. That's how we keep everybody in that process on track.
Okay, so it sounds like you were encouraging the development, whatever they are, to come back with full responses to a full response from staff if there's a rejection or insufficient letter sent out.
That is correct.
We're asking
And
for.
to add to that, we also have like a rather large development that has changed the course of its path over the last year and a half. So, when those changes come in, that takes time too, because now you're looking at stuff where, did you answer the question from a year and a half ago, or is this a whole new thing because you're going in a different direction? So there's great pause put into that as well. And again, when you're talking with a staff of 10 people for a town of our size, we're already a larger department than we ever were before. I think, and I expressed this to the town manager and deputy town manager, that we are far above where we should be as far as some of these things. It's just, we have to reply and adapt to what we're given. And we give them out the packet, we expect that packet back. And that's kind of the plain and simple part of it.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, it takes two to tango, right? So I understand.
There's always two sides to a story.
I'm glad well, there's usually three, but yeah, I understand your point. Yeah, okay, that's good clarification, because I think the more we can let people know, it's just, when we get, and I'm sure my fellow counselors get it, when you get, whether it's a homeowner or it's a commercial project, and they're like, it's been 4 months, we haven't gotten any communication from the planning staff, can you help us get an answer? That's where it becomes concerning, right? 4 months is a long time. And I know that it's very difficult. I know in the past, we try to do on residential 14-day things. It's impossible, I would think, on commercial projects. But if we can figure out maybe better ways to bring that down. And what I've noticed in when we have to sign off on things that come through, whether we talk about here, sometimes it'll be 3, 4, 5 months before I'll see something that we made a decision on. And that stalls us, it stalls the developer, it stalls the resident. And so there's a few things there. I'm hoping that we can figure out a way to condense that. I know some of it's, and I think Nancy's talked about it in the past, is there's been issues between what our interpretation is based on the policy decisions and what theirs are. And that's what kind of delays some of this. So I think we've been trying to address that to narrow down what exactly we mean when we're saying our policy decisions, so that the staff has a clear path forward to say, resident A or developer A, this is what was said, this is what it means, and if they go back and forth, then that is on them. But hopefully, we're getting closer to where you're getting the right direction from us to not create that confusion in the 4-month lapse in signing resolutions or ordinances into.
No, we've definitely helped that, and Nancy's been instrumental in getting that process really going and streamlining too. But to Will's point earlier, our new software, that nothing is a magic elixir, but it'll take us from where we were in the Stone Ages with the current software we've been using before the storm and after the storm to basically in a fair field as far as other communities in our area. In fact, one step above, because it'll be AI generated, it'll help us, but you'll be able to see each particular step, what each particular planner or reviewer is going through and what they're dealing with on our side, on the inside. And we can relate that better in situations like this, where
I only ask is that there's a way to rename the hyperlinks. It's driven me nuts for 5 years to be able to.
all
try
that
to,
is going to be redone.
to go through
We have
25
the
links to figure out something
worst
there.
public interface on our webpage between our the community development department, and that's ongoing right now. So we're getting there.
Good. I'm glad. Wanted the public to know that we are discussing it, because sometimes they send things in and they don't think things are happening, but the wheels are moving and progress is
And
happening.
again, I'm always the person to, I'm the one who takes the responsibility for that department, so they can always reach out to me as well.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I had. Anything else, Will?
No, sir.
Thank you. You have anything you want to add? You sure? Okay. Town attorney items.
Okay, 2 items very quickly. On Wednesday, Chloe Berriman, who is an attorney with our firm, she'll be joining me for an evidentiary hearing before our code enforcement magistrate on the White Sand project or foreclosure. So if you're around Town Hall, I'd like the opportunity to introduce her to you. I know she's had some interaction with some of our staff on the procurement side, I think perhaps the land use side as well. And she's just delightful. The second thing is just I want to wish everyone a happy Groundhog's Day.
John, any questions for Nancy?
No.
Scott? Rebecca?
Nope.
All right. Council member items and reports. John?
Made the long journey to Tallahassee last week, and it was a cold journey as well. I did not wear long pants except when I wore my suit, so a suit, I guess. I have more than one. I don't know why. But it was an interesting process. I did get together socially with Representative Botana, Senator Martin, and former interim town manager Chris Hawley. And that was a fun and good time, and I always enjoyed seeing Mr. Hawley and the other two gentlemen as well. Did get to meet one-on-one during the day, Tuesday, with Representative Botana, and expressed what we are asking for from the state, which I don't think is a lot, and honestly, a lot of folks don't think is a lot, with the phase 2 of the downtown stormwater improvement and the road infrastructure improvement. I think we know that Representative Botana will always be there for us. So it was good to spend time with him. I did not get to meet one-on-one with Senator Martin formally, but I did express those needs and desires as well.
Very good. Thank you for the trip, and hopefully you had some fun.
There was a couple of nice restaurants downtown that Chris and I were able to enjoy, so yeah.
I can tell you a couple to avoid.
Well, we can compare notes later.
There you go.
I just wanted to add on to John's report. I got a red alert this morning from Becky Vos asking me to let you all know about a bill that's going through. It's committee substitute for Senate Bill 948, which is creating the Florida Starter Home Act. Just very quickly, it is the preemption of all preemptions for your zoning and land use approvals.
Shocker.
Yeah, it's once again taking away home rule.
Anything else, John?
No.
Scott?
John, I want to thank you personally for representing us up at the state level. That's I know it's a lot of time and a lot of work, but thank you. My only report is I've been officially put on the TDC, and my first meeting is next Thursday. I'm really looking forward to it. And as well, happy Groundhog's Day. It's not a fake holiday. It's actually the day between the solstice and the equinox, just like May Day and Halloween. So it's been celebrated for millennia. So happy Groundhog Day.
Rebecca?
No items, Mayor.
I do not have anything either. They've all been covered. If there's nothing else, John?
In the immortal words of Don McLean, February made me shiver. So bye-bye, Miss American Pie. If you know, you know. Move to adjourn.
Any objection? We adjourn at 11:18.